Climbing out of the middle class isn't something that happens overnight. It's a slow and steady process that depends on consistency, long-term thinking, and daily choices. Over time, the way you manage your money, time, and mindset begins to shift. And those changes often happen without much attention. But even without a drastic change in income, certain habits and decisions can quietly move you toward greater financial control and independence. Here are signs you are quietly leaving the middle-class status behind. One of the first signs is when your decisions no longer revolve around just getting through the month. In the middle class, everything is about survival. What can be paid today, what can wait, how to stretch until the next paycheck. But when you start thinking about how your choices today affect your life a year from now, something's changed. You stop thinking in terms of quick fixes and start thinking in terms of value. Maybe you choose to invest in a tool that makes your work easier. Maybe you skip a small expense now because you're aiming for a long-term goal. That kind of shift doesn't just happen. It's earned through practice, experience, and better control over your money. You also notice that prices don't stress you the way they used to. A small increase in your utility bill or a slightly higher grocery total doesn't throw your entire week off. You're not operating on the edge anymore. You've built enough space between you and financial stress to stop reacting emotionally. This doesn't mean you're careless with money. It means you're making decisions from a stable place. You know what things are worth, and you know when something is affordable. Not based on what others spend, but based on your budget and your priorities. Then there's your time. Time is usually one of the first things sacrificed when you're just trying to get by. But when you start to get more control over your life, time becomes something you protect. You start saying no to things that don't serve you. You take breaks without guilt. You notice that your schedule begins to include things that actually help you move forward, like reading, thinking, or learning new skills. These aren't luxuries. They're indicators that your life is no longer defined by immediate stress. You also begin to care less about appearances. The pressure to prove yourself, to show you're doing well, starts to fade. You don't feel the need to buy things to impress people. You stop explaining your decisions to everyone around you. You might still be wearing the same old jacket or driving the same car, but now it's because you've made a decision, not because you had no choice. That quiet confidence is something most people never develop, and it's one of the strongest signs that your mindset has changed. At some point, you realize that unexpected events don't shake you like they used to. A car repair, a medical bill, or a gap between clients doesn't send you spiraling. You've planned ahead, you've saved. Maybe you've even created extra income streams. Whatever it is, it gives you peace, and peace is rare when you're just trying to get by. Your relationship with money becomes less emotional and more practical. You stop spending for comfort and start spending for progress. You're more interested in what money can build than what it can buy. That's when you know things are changing. You're not chasing instant gratification. You're putting your income to work in ways that lead to something better, whether it's investing in tools, skills, or even rest. It's not about being frugal for the sake of it. It's about seeing the long-term value in every choice. Another sign is when you begin to simplify your life. You remove things that add noise. You clean up your finances. You unsubscribe from services you don't use. You stop filling your schedule just to feel busy. And when you free up space, both mentally and financially, you make room for the things that really matter. This kind of simplification often marks the beginning of financial independence. It's the point where you stop chasing and start choosing. You also begin to understand the importance of leverage. You realize that doing everything yourself isn't a sign of strength. It's a recipe for burnout. So you start looking for ways to get more done without more stress. Maybe you use tools that save you time. Maybe you ask for help or hire someone to handle the tasks that drain you. It's not about being above hard work. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are limited and using them wisely. You don't talk about money the same way either. You're less likely to bring it up in casual conversation. You're not bragging, you're not complaining, you're just handling it. The more financially stable you become, the less you feel the need to discuss it. And when you do talk about it, the focus is different. You're talking about ideas, not just prices, about strategy, not just struggle. That's a quiet but powerful shift. Your appetite for learning increases. As you grow, you become more curious. You start asking better questions. You take time to learn things you once avoided, like how taxes work or how to read a financial statement. Not because you want to show off, but because you realize that knowledge gives you options. And when you have options, you're no longer stuck in cycles that drain your progress. You also begin to think beyond yourself. You ask what kind of future you're building, not just for you, but for the people you care about. You start thinking about legacy. Maybe you create plans for your children. Maybe you talk to your parents about long-term care. Maybe you just make sure that your progress won't disappear the moment something changes. That shift from day-to-day thinking to generational thinking is a strong indicator that you're leaving behind the limits of the middle class. And with that shift comes stronger boundaries. You no longer say yes to every request. You don't feel bad turning down opportunities that don't align with your goals. You're not being rude, you're being clear. That clarity protects your energy, your finances, and your future. It's not something you announce, it's just something you live. The people you spend time with begin to change too. You gravitate toward conversations that make you think. You're drawn to people who are building something or learning something. You find value in calm, focused energy rather than excitement or distraction. Sometimes this means leaving behind circles that no longer reflect your direction. That process isn't always easy, but it's part of the growth. You also become more patient. You don't rush into things the way you used to. You're not constantly looking for shortcuts. You're okay with slow progress, as long as it's real. That mindset keeps you from making impulsive decisions and helps you stick to your plan. You know that lasting results come from consistency, not speed. Eventually, your version of success becomes simpler. It's not about numbers in your account or things you can display. It's about freedom, peace, the ability to handle what comes without panic, the ability to help others without draining yourself, the ability to make decisions without fear. These are the things you start to value more than anything else. And most importantly, you stop waiting. You stop hoping for some external moment to rescue you. You stop thinking that someday something will change. You realize that change happens through action, your action. So you take responsibility. You build, you adapt, you improve, bit by bit, day by day. And over time, those small steps compound. That's how you quietly leave the middle class. Not by pretending, not by rushing, but by being intentional, patient, and focused on what matters. Most people won't notice the difference right away, but you will. You'll feel the calm, the clarity, the quiet confidence that you're heading in the right direction, even if no one else sees it yet. And with that quiet progress comes a shift in how you measure your own growth. You no longer count achievements by comparison or recognition. You measure by how steady your life feels, how often you feel grateful instead of anxious, how much more control you have over your choices. These subtle but powerful changes become your new markers of success, internal ones, not external. You also start planning ahead, not just for goals, but for life's unpredictability. You create space in your budget, your time, and your mind for the unknown. You're no longer shaken by every shift because you've built enough stability to weather it. That kind of preparation isn't loud, it's thoughtful. And it's a clear sign that you're building something that lasts. Eventually, you realize that real wealth isn't loud at all. It's not in the noise, it's in the calm. It's not in the show, it's in the structure. And when you live that way long enough, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You're not just leaving the middle class. You're building a life that works on your terms every single day.